Hello, my name is Sindre.
And I'm Renate.
And you're listening to Geekare Humanum. So Renate, in a lot of our episodes we have talked about covering Curb Your Enthusiasm on the podcast.
Yeah, we may have mentioned it a couple of times, mostly because we just watched it for the first time.
Yeah, all 100 episodes actually.
Yeah, first we watched Seinfeld. I rewatched Seinfeld and you watched it for the first time.
Yeah, and we talked about that in our 5th episode.
Do people still talk about Curb Your Enthusiasm? I think it was when it was first aired, the earlier seasons, maybe it was more unique in a way.
Yeah, well, there's a few memes going around on the internet and stuff, so it is part of the culture, but...
I enjoy watching it, but maybe it's repeating itself in a way, so you get more and more comfortable watching it in a way, because you know how it's going to play out and how Larry David is going to react. Because the show is about Larry David, who created Seinfeld together with Jerry Seinfeld, so it's...
he plays a version of himself.
Yeah, I believe it's probably heavily caricatured.
Yeah. And Larry David is a Jewish man.
Yeah, elderly, so.
Yeah, very... I was about to say very old. Like, he looks quite old because he's balding and has white hair.
He's not young. I think he's like 70 or 70 plus now.
Yeah, but we saw some behind-the-scenes stuff from Seinfeld and he looked basically just as old.
Yeah, he doesn't age in a way. Or he aged a lot and then he just stopped aging.
Yeah, it seems like that.
Sometimes I think you kind of see the real Larry David shining through, like he's like laughing at the absurdity of the situation. It seems a bit ad-lib sometimes.
Yeah, a lot of the show is improvised. And I think they have like a script with the basic outline of what is going to happen and where they have to move the conversation to get to a certain point. But a lot of the in-between stuff, they are just... ad-libbing, as you said.
Yeah, that's a good idea that many good shows are using this technique if they have like genuinely funny people.
Yeah.
So they just kind of have the skeleton of a script and then people know their characters and improvise. And
yeah, when we started watching the show, we were getting really embarrassed and stuff because it's really embarrassing situations that they put themselves in.
Yeah, it's embarrassing humor. I haven't really watched a lot of Woody Allen movies, but I read it's kind of similar humor.
Yeah.
You know, I get very embarrassed, but you get extremely embarrassed. So you always have to pause the show and you start fiddling with your phone and you're like hitting your pillow.
Yeah, and
your sofa cushions and
looking away, and I get very easily embarrassed by stuff like that. It was horrible when we were watching Peep Show.
Oh yeah, I enjoy that. That's the
Robert Webb and David Mitchell's sitcom, where you see the program from inside each of their head, and I think you hear their thoughts as well. So it's just switching between their eyes, and you see everything from their point of view. And yeah, that's a lot of embarrassing humor there.
Yeah, you introduced that show to me. I thought it was really funny. I'm actually waiting for Netflix to get their butts in gear and put up all the seasons.
Yeah, that's never going to happen because it's been years now since we saw the first 3 seasons. At least in Norway, who knows in your country, if you're in a different country. Maybe they have all the seasons or maybe they have none of it. The Netflix library is different.
I think Netflix is really slow when it comes to putting up new things, at least in Norway. Like, they have shows like, okay, on the top of my head, Brooklyn Nine-Nine.
Yeah.
But then, you know, you have to wait forever to get the new season whenever it's released.
They're an entire season behind all the time. When the new season airs on television in America, that's when the previous season gets updated to Netflix.
Yeah, so they should realize the globalization is happening, and the only thing they force people to illegally download stuff.
Yeah.
Not that we do that.
No, because they don't really force anyone, because people can wait, but nobody wants to wait. Like,
not when things are easily accessible.
Yeah.
I mean,
just give everybody the possibility to pay legally for stuff, and they will do it.
Yeah, because we want to pay for stuff. We can afford it, but they have to make it accessible for us.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that's my little rant.
Yeah, we could talk about that for ages. I have so many things I want to say about this topic, but let's maybe cover more of that a different time, because let's get back on track.
Yeah.
So what's your favorite parts of Curb Your Enthusiasm? Any favorite characters or bits or anything like that?
I think that character who moves in with Larry David, what's his name?
Is it Leon, I think?
Leon, yeah. I think he's very funny because it's just so bizarre that it's like Hurricane Katrina, I think. And there's a whole family moving in with Larry David and his now ex-wife. This family moves in with him, and then for some reason there's a mom in this family and she has a cousin, and for some reason he moves in with them as well. Yeah,
Leon is the cousin, and he
lives in LA already.
Yeah, he has not been hit by Hurricane
Katrina. He has his own apartment or something. It's just not probably as good as Larry David's big mansion.
Yeah, because of course, since Larry David plays himself, he is rich because he gets a lot of money from Seinfeld reruns.
So this family lives with Larry David for quite a while.
Yeah, for an entire season.
Yeah, when they get their new house, they move back home. But Leon, he just remains in Larry's house.
Yeah.
So he is a bit like a funny sidekick.
You don't fuck around and reduce your titties by half and expect the motherfucker to be happy with that shit. You know what I'm saying?
I do.
You see a big ass
I do
bra.
know what you're saying.
You know what I'm saying?
Why do you keep asking me that? I know
I'm
what
asking.
you're saying.
Sometimes you don't know what the fuck I'm saying.
I know
Larry.
what the fuck you're saying.
I explain shit to you sometimes. You don't fucking get it.
I get it. You want to give me a test on it?
They are quite different in some ways and similar in other ways.
Yeah, they're very opposite, and it's
a fun friendship.
Yeah, I think he's a very funny character. Do you have any favorite characters or situations or anything? What makes you laugh the most?
Something I really like from the show is how they are incorporating Seinfeld into it.
Yeah.
There was an entire season, I think, where they were going to make a reunion episode for Seinfeld, and the whole season was about them getting together with the actors from Seinfeld and everything around that.
Yeah, it was nice seeing them again.
Yeah, and Larry David and the guy that plays George, what's his name again?
Jason Alexander.
Yeah, Jason Alexander. That's a great name, by the way. Yeah, they have a disagreement, and I think he scares Jason Alexander away because he's so angry at him, and then he has to play George in a scene. And George in Seinfeld is based on Larry David. Like when he wrote the script with Seinfeld, George is actually Larry David. And you get to see him play as Jason Alexander as himself, kind of. Like, it's a very strange scene. I'll probably link to it in the show notes.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's something I really like in the show.
Oh, I remembered another thing.
Yeah.
I like that he opened a Spite store.
Yeah, that's in the last season, yeah.
Yeah, Larry David, he started a coffee shop right next to another coffee shop just out of spite because he wasn't happy. They had like wobbly tables and their coffee wasn't hot enough and their scones weren't hard enough.
That's Mocha Joe.
Yeah, Mocha Joe. And then just for spite and because he could, he opened a store right next door.
Yeah, called Latte Larry's.
Yeah. Also, and I like coffee shops like that, so it was...
Yeah, it was fun just seeing him start a coffee shop from
scratch.
Yeah.
And, within me I was like, oh, I hope this is going well. Which, of course, it really didn't do.
No, of course not.
It didn't end well, at least. It was good for a while, but yeah.
Yeah, and he designed some new urinals.
Yeah, that was... Oh, God. You remember the female toilets he made? That was even worse.
Oh, yeah, God.
You were supposed to squat over this.
Yeah, it was basically a female urinal that you had to squat over.
Yeah, and there was like this handlebar that you had to hold on to while you were squatting. It was so stupid and no one addressed that it was weird.
Yeah, because he showed it to some guys and they were all like, oh yeah, that's a great idea. And then we never got to see any women
react to them.
Yeah.
Because I don't think they were supposed to be inside stalls even. They were supposed to be like urinals that just women would squat side by side by side.
Yeah. But if you ask me, that's just as dumb as normal male urinals. What's the point of having them?
Well, it's not just... I mean, if you see a guy standing by the urinal, if you see him from behind, you can't actually see anything. But can you imagine all these women just squatting?
Yeah, well...
While holding on to this bar? Oh,
yeah,
no. Well, yeah. So the urinal was a bit weird too, but I think he got some praise for it in the show at least. That men were going, oh, that was great. Do you want to do your rant about public urinals? You're always complaining about them.
I hate them because I sometimes compare with you how the different toilets are. And I ask how many stalls were there. And often in the male toilets, there is one stall and then a long urinal. And then in the female toilet, there is 6 stalls because they don't have to spend the space on the urinal. And that just makes everybody have to wait to get into the stall in the male toilet. And if you use a urinal, then you cannot use paper to dry yourself. So everybody is just leaving there with piss in their pants.
Yeah, that doesn't sound very nice.
Yeah, you can try to shake off some of the pee after you have used the urinal, but it doesn't matter how much you shake, some of that is going in your trousers. So I never use the urinals because I don't like to go around with piss in my pants.
I can understand that.
Yeah, but there's so many people that does it, and it wouldn't be an issue if there were just enough stalls in the men's toilet.
Is that the reason why there's always a line in the ladies' room? There's always a line. I mean, if you go to the urinal, you probably just want to finish up real quickly.
Yeah.
But maybe women are peeing more, I don't know.
I have no idea. But,
okay, we are entering some weird territory here.
Back to Curb Your Enthusiasm.
Yeah, and the embarrassing humor.
Speaking
of... But we were talking, because I just recently, I got a trial subscription to a different streaming service. So we've been rewatching old Frasier episodes.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah, and you were pointing out, you were actually pausing an episode because you were embarrassed.
Yeah.
And you were like, this is Curb Your Enthusiasm all over again.
Yeah, it started off not that embarrassing, and then they just got into more and more embarrassing territory. I think they realized that, this is...
It's really funny.
Yeah. But yeah, maybe we will talk more about Frasier on a different episode, but I'm really happy that we started watching it again. It's a great show.
Yeah, it's maybe not very geeky, and some people are probably put off by a lot of the humor is that they're snobs and they are looking down on the common man, but you laugh at them because of it, because...
Yeah, but that's why they have their father living with Frasier, because he's more of a...
down-to-earth guy.
Yeah.
He's maybe the common sense.
Yeah, but he's a cop, so...
Yeah.
In today's day and age, I don't know if they would have made it.
Yeah, we of course knew that he was cop from before, but when we saw it now, it was like,
It felt a bit weird with what we know is going on in America right at the moment.
Yeah, but that's probably what... I mean, our view on the police in America is based on American culture. So we didn't really know how bad it was.
Yeah, and a lot of American culture is actually kind of propaganda that is being made in conjunction with the police. The one hand rubs the other. Like the police helps Hollywood, and then Hollywood helps the police. Sort of a natural symbiosis that has started. Nothing deliberately sinister, I think, but it's just you mostly get a positive view of the police from American media.
Yeah, so we learned something there through the past months.
Yeah.
To put it mildly.
Yeah, most people learned something during the past months.
Yeah, I don't know if all Americans even were aware of this.
I'm sure a lot of black Americans were aware of it.
Yeah,
I'm sure not even all of them knew about it, but...
probably it depends on where you hang out and what walk of life you're in.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Like if you're rich...
if you're rich and you wear like expensive clothes and have a fancy car,
you're more likely to not be exposed to that kind of things, but you're not immune.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But what do we know? But that was a long rant. Marty Crane is the cop anyway, and...
Do we have anything else to say about Curb Your Enthusiasm?
Has your enthusiasm been curbed?
My enthusiasm was sufficiently curbed. And just to wrap it all up, I think the most important thing that you can say about the show is that it's pretty good.
Nice one.
Thanks. What's next on the agenda?
Well, before we start with our homework, which was The Godfather 3,
yeah,
I thought I wanted to just quickly bring up something.
Yeah.
I was quickly browsing through a list with the new releases on Netflix, and there was one that caught my attention. So I just wanted to share with you so that we stay a little bit with it.
Yeah, that we have some news on this podcast too.
Yeah, not just old series and old movies and...
Yeah, we can have a little bit of that too.
Yeah. It's called Wendell and Wilde, and according to the blurb, it's a stop-motion animated dark fantasy horror comedy by Henry Selick, who directed The Nightmare Before Christmas and Coraline, and it's written together with Jordan Peele.
Yeah, and both of those creators, we love their work, right?
Yeah, Jordan Peele is a relatively new director.
Yeah, but we really liked his sketch show, Key and Peele, and we loved both of his first movies, Get Out and Us.
Yeah, I was thinking about Us the other day and how creepy it would be if suddenly a replica of the family was standing in our bedroom.
Yeah, that's a really creepy movie, and both of his movies have a lot of social commentary that is really interesting to get into after you've seen the movie. But on the surface, it's just a great, straightforward horror plot.
Yeah, and a little bit out of the ordinary, I think. I'm into stop motion. The Nightmare Before Christmas. I love that movie and I watch it every Halloween.
Yeah, we usually celebrate Halloween by watching Nightmare Before Christmas.
It's a nice tradition.
Yeah. Coraline is also very fun to watch at Halloween.
Yeah, and back to Wendell and Wilde. It's supposed to be about two demon brothers, so that could be interesting.
Yeah, and it's stop motion, you say.
Yeah.
So it's like Nightmare Before Christmas, which is stop motion, and Coraline, also stop motion. And yeah, we love stop motion stuff like Wallace and Gromit.
Yeah.
Those are great. And a Norwegian movie called Pinchcliffe Grand Prix in English, Flåklypa Grand Prix in the original Norwegian.
It's from the 70s, I think. When you see it, it's obvious that it has inspired Wallace and Gromit, because it's about an inventor, and his inventions are sort of weird and wacky like Wallace's inventions.
And the inventor in Pinchcliffe also has animal companions like Gromit.
Yeah, he has a penguin? No, it's not a penguin.
It's like... some kind of bird, I'm not quite sure which.
Yeah, and a hedgehog.
Yeah.
But they can talk.
Yeah, unlike Gromit, who only speaks with his eyes.
Yeah, but I think with Wallace and Gromit, I think he has improved the idea. Because I have to say, I actually prefer Wallace and Gromit.
Yeah, I think maybe me too, but not by much. I really like both Wallace and Gromit and Flåklypa or Pinchcliffe.
Yeah, they made some new stop-motion movies lately.
Yeah.
In the latter years.
Yeah.
Norwegian stop-motion movies about this Pinchcliffe.
Yeah, for international international listeners, non-Norwegian listeners, I'm going to put some clips from both the original Pinchcliffe movie and some of the newer ones.
I think I really liked the newer ones. I was surprised how good they were.
Yeah, I'm going to put some clips in the show notes.
Okay.
But yeah, I also really liked the newer ones.
Especially the first one.
Oh, the first of the newer ones, yeah.
But have we seen them all? Did we see the one where they went to space?
Yes.
We did? Okay. Never mind.
But yeah, I still have a soft spot for the original Pinchcliffe Grand Prix because it's just so charming, and that's the deal with a lot of stop motion animated movies, that they are very charming just because of the way they are made.
Yeah, I love in Wallace and Gromit when you actually sometimes you can see like fingerprints on the puppets.
Yeah, it funnily enough makes everything seem more real, even though you can clearly see stuff that makes you understand that this is not real.
Yeah, it's very organic in a way, and I also love watching when you buy one of those movies on DVD, there's always making of documentary.
Yeah.
I always love watching those, and I get inspired and I want to make stop motion, but
yeah,
it never happens, unfortunately. Maybe we should just quit our jobs and start making stop motion.
Yeah, well, that would be very fun, but yeah, I also really liked the behind-the-scenes stuff on stop-motion movies, and I really liked the behind-the-scenes on Hubo and the Two Strings, I think it was called.
Yeah.
And in one scene in that movie...
Was that at the end credits?
Yeah, I think they showed it at the end credits, because one of the scenes in the movie, and I think that's the same team that made Paranorman, which was really fun. I prefer Paranorman over Kubo. But yeah, in Kubo, there was a scene where he is fighting a giant skeleton. It's really fun to see the behind the scenes on that scene, and maybe I'll link that too in the show notes.
Yeah, I guess they just had to show us to make us really appreciate the work behind this model that they did. Because when you're watching it, you may not think about the effort that is put into each scene. Of course, this is the case with any movie, unless, you have your analyzing glasses on. But
yeah, but with 3D animated stuff, with CGI and stuff,
yeah,
it's of course very impressive, but it's all code, so it's more difficult to get invested in it when you see the behind the scenes stuff of it, because if you show just the nuts and bolts of CGI, you're just going to see a bunch of ones and zeros. But
yeah, and that's probably why they actually showed how they did the skeleton scene, because most people would just assume it was CGI'd.
Yeah.
So they were just showing that they actually did this.
Yeah, but if it was CGI, they could have made something pretty good with CGI too, but it would have lost some of the charm.
Yeah, stop motion is much better. I like the flow of it, even when it's sort of stuttering. When you watch The Nightmare Before Christmas, the movements are a bit stuttering, but that adds to the feeling, I think.
Yeah.
So nobody has seen Wendell and Wilde yet, but I'm looking forward to it.
We're probably going to cover it on the podcast at some point. Maybe not at release, because it's difficult to get to the cinema with a baby. And
this is Netflix.
Oh, it's on Netflix. Then maybe we will cover it quite soon after release.
Yeah, but next year, so who knows if the podcast is still here.
It will be. It will be.
Okay. In some shape or form.
In the same shape or form. Let's move on to the film that we're going to talk about for this episode. You picked out one of your movies that I haven't seen yet.
Yeah, that's right. Godfather Part III.
Yeah, and it was really good. I quite liked it.
Yeah, it's enjoyable, although not as good as number 1 and 2. I read that Francis Ford Coppola considered it more of an epilogue.
I totally see that.
Because that's what I always thought about it.
Maybe we should have a quick summary of all the 3 movies. Just a few sentences on each of them.
Okay. So in the first movie, you still have Marlon Brando as the Godfather.
Yeah, the leader of the mafia.
And Michael Corleone is just one of his sons.
Yeah, and he doesn't want to get involved in the mafia. He wants to be a lawyer and not be involved in any criminality.
Yeah, I also think his father wants to keep him out of it.
Yeah, and by the end of that movie, Michael Corleone has to take over as the Godfather because Marlon Brando's character dies. So in part 2, that's where you get into Michael Corleone coming into his own as the new Godfather. Like he's starting to get into the role of being the Godfather instead of just like in the first one, that's him becoming the Godfather. While in part 2, he's learning how to be the Godfather. But it's also a lot of flashbacks to the Marlon Brando character, but played by Robert De Niro as a younger man.
Yeah.
So you sort of see how both of them, the father and the son, is becoming the Godfather, like in different times.
And maybe they also have that in common, that in their old age, they kind of look back and repent and they want to go legitimate.
Yeah, because that's how part 3 starts out. Michael Corleone has started to get into business and is trying to get out of the criminal business.
But every time he thinks he's out, they pull him back in.
Yeah, is that quote originally from that movie? Because
I thought that.
Yeah, because I've heard it so many times and I've never known what it was a reference to originally.
Oh.
Yeah, because
I think it's this movie.
Yeah, because that quote has been quoted by so many people in so many movies and television shows and everything like that.
Yeah, but it's a very cool quote.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, it makes a lot of sense. The part 3 is the epilogue, because in that one he sort of is looking back at his life, and there's a lot of flashbacks to the previous movies, like he's thinking about stuff that has happened in his life. And yeah, you sort of see him as an old man, same as Marlon Brando's character in the first one. So it has come full circle, kind of.
Yeah, and they both seem to die of old age in Sicily.
Yeah, that's true. Like, they lived a life of violence and crime and had numerous attempts on their life, but in the end they died of natural causes.
Do you think that was well deserved?
Well, I don't know about that, but Marlon's character, he's sort of happy when he dies. Like he is playing with a grandchild, I think.
Yeah, and he drops that in the back garden, so...
Yeah, but Michael Corleone, played by Al Pacino, he seems to die alone. You actually skip ahead many years to his death after a scene where you see one of his family members get killed as a result of a attempt on his life.
Yeah, and also in this movie he's confessing to a priest about the fact that he killed his brother, Fredo. And I think the priest reacts with that his guilt is going to be his punishment, or something like that. So maybe that's a bit like he gets a deserving end because he gets to live a long life and in regret.
Yeah.
Both that he killed his own brother and that his daughter gets murdered. But she gets in the way of a bullet meant for him. Al Pacino himself apparently meant that Michael Corleone's repenting was out of character, so he actually didn't agree with it. I think it was a nice ending to it.
Yeah.
I read there was a lot of talk about payment when they were making the movie. Like, Al Pacino was offered $5 million and he wanted $7 million, and Coppola replied that he could start the movie with the funeral scene of Michael Corleone, like a threat. So I think he agreed on $5 million because of that. And Robert Duvall, who played Tom Hagen in the previous movies, he wasn't offered as much money as Al Pacino, so he declined.
It's ridiculous how much money some of these people get paid, and just because they are famous. And
But he is an important part of the first movies, so I can understand that he didn't want to be paid less than... I think he was offered like $1 million, and Al Pacino got 5. No, but...
It's an ego thing, and it's like, I can't be paid less.
Probably. I don't know. So, maybe we should talk about the so-called elephant in the room.
What?
the girl who plays Michael Corleone's daughter, Sofia Coppola.
Oh, yeah.
It's been said a lot of times, but she's not really a very good actress. We can say that now because she's a successful director, so we don't have to feel bad about it.
I did notice sometimes that her acting wasn't quite as good as some of the other actors.
Most of her dialogue was also re-recorded.
I did think I noticed something that it sounded a little bit weird.
And as far as I know, she won like 2 Razzies for it, like worst actress.
Yeah.
And I think she won she set a record for votes or something like that.
Oh, yeah.
So I guess people really hated her in that part. Maybe also because she's, of course, the daughter of the director. But she wasn't actually going to play her. Winona Ryder was going to do that part.
Oh, weird.
No, it's not that weird. Because she was, I guess, dating Johnny Depp at the time. And he convinced her to do Edward Scissorhands instead.
Oh.
Which was also released in 1990. And Francis Coppola, he's putting relatives into the movies. So I guess it wasn't so weird for him to put his daughter in there.
Do you think Winona Ryder made a good choice in what movie she picked?
Yeah. I really love Edward Scissorhands and...
Yeah, because The Godfather Part III was very good, but that character is a much smaller character than Winona Ryder's character in Edward Scissorhands.
Yeah, but of course, to The Godfather, I think maybe Winona Ryder would have been better in the role because she's a better actress.
Yeah, of course.
Anything else to add? Do you have any favorite characters or...
Yeah, I think by the point of Part 3, some of the best characters in that trilogy is already out.
Yeah. Oh, I was thinking about, that old guy who was called Alto Bello, I think.
Yeah, is that kind of the bad guy?
Yeah, he's the one who...
He's orchestrating stuff behind the scenes. And...
Yeah, you can call him the bad guy. But he's an old guy and...
He's another godfather that is trying to play Michael Corleone and, he's a bit of a snake.
Yeah, but they still have enough respect for him to, they kill him in a friendly way, if you can say that.
Yeah,
it's Michael's sister Connie who poisons him with some cake or something.
Yeah, so that's a pretty good way to die if you're going to die.
Yeah. And he's an old man, so...
On his birthday, too, so...
Yeah. Oh. But I was going to say, I read that Frank Sinatra was going to play that part.
Oh my god.
If we come back to the money thing, they didn't offer him enough money, I think.
Oh.
So, but maybe you would be kind of perplexed by him. I don't know.
Yeah, you would probably be a bit distracted.
Maybe.
Yeah.
And maybe they had to squeeze in a song just because it was Frank Sinatra.
Yeah, it's often better to go with someone you're not going to recognize. The most distracting character in this movie was Al Pacino's character.
Yeah, and he's already in the franchise, so...
Yeah. I guess...
The Godfather made him, maybe.
Yeah, I think in part 1 he wasn't as well known, so that's...
No, he was very young, at least.
Yeah.
Can I mention also an actor that was supposed to be in the movie?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, the daughter of Michael Corleone, Mary, played by Sofia Coppola. Madonna was actually trying to get that part.
Oh, really?
Yeah, but they thought she was too old. So I think she was offered another role, but I think she wanted the same amount of money and it was a really small part, so that didn't happen.
Jesus, these celebrities and their greed, they have so much money already and they can't put it aside to be involved with one of the best film trilogies ever.
I don't know. I could do The Godfather 3 for $1 million.
Yeah,
no problem.
Absolutely. And at least when you have that much money that these people have, I could do it for less if I had that much money already.
Yeah. I wonder how many Razzies we would have got.
Yeah, that's true.
That would for sure be in a record.
Do you think Madonna regrets that?
She's done so much and...
Yeah, but to be part of Godfather, and just because you wanted more money that you're not involved in it. Many of these people should probably want to pay to be involved with it,
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't get it.
But, you know, the third one is, like we said, more of an epilogue, and it's not as renowned as the first two.
Yeah, but still,
Yeah,
you know.
I know. Well, I don't know if I have anything more to add.
No, I think that's probably it. We're trying to keep this a bit shorter than we have been, like this episode. We're trying to keep these episodes a bit shorter than they have been lately. Because the editing of these episodes are taking so long. The last episode had over 1,000 actions in the editing program, like moving audio or removing stuff or adding stuff, like 1,000 actions in the editing software.
Didn't know that.
Yeah, so it takes a lot of time, so we're trying to keep the episodes a bit shorter, so it will take shorter time to edit.
Yeah, and if people have done their homework, we don't need to retell the entire plot.
Yeah, we've been guilty of doing that on some of these movies, that we're just retelling the entire plot from scene to scene, and that's probably not the best way to go about it.
Yeah, you live, you learn.
Yeah, but so let's move on to our pick for next episode.
Yeah, it's your turn.
Yeah, we've now been talking about some of the most important movies ever for the last few episodes. Like the Godfather series, Metropolis is very important. So I think we should continue on that route.
Okay.
And so for the next episode, we're going to watch Popstar, Never Stop, Never Stopping.
No.
That's the Lonely Island movie.
I've forgotten about that. You know, we started watching it, and I don't know, why did we stop?
I'm not sure. Maybe it was just late and we got too tired and we're going to watch it later.
I really hated it, the little we saw. But maybe... I'm not sure. Maybe I know that Andy Samberg guy better now, since we've been watching Brooklyn Nine-Nine.
Yeah, so now you know that that you like him at least.
I like him in Brooklyn Nine-Nine.
Yeah.
I don't know how this will be.
Yeah, so that's a bit exciting, because I wouldn't say that I'm a super fan of the Lonely Island comedy band that made this movie.
You and your comedy bands.
Yeah. So I think maybe for the next episode we're going to talk about that in general too, like comedy bands to, or at least Lonely Island, because that's kind of important for the connection for the movie.
Well, I'll give it another try.
Yeah, and that's going to be really exciting to see if we completely disagree on this movie.
Yeah, we usually kind of like the same things.
Yeah, but when it comes to like comedy music, then I have some taste that you are not completely on board with for some of them. But yeah, that's it for this episode.
Yeah, so thank you for listening, and see you next time.
Yeah, bye!
Bye!